And we're back. Mace Hammertime. So we had a little bit.
Oh, hang on. I just did the matcha. I just drank matcha while holding my breath the entire time. For anybody that was watching before, that was what I was doing. I held my breath the entire fucking time because the Hammer Time has got the world record for holding your breath and drinking matcha. Okay, so what do we got here?
So update. Not only world record, Guinness Book of World Records. We're going to be sending you proof of that. Video proof coming soon.
They don't do a lot. We don't do a lot of the videos. So come on, we know it's like top secret stuff. All my achievements are just we who know the people who know. That's the whole. I mean,
all about being in the know.
It's just I don't like all the clout. It's too much for me. My life's already
never too much clout.
Yeah. My life's too much. My real stuff. Anyway, so back to what you were saying before.
Ooh, so it does actually look like Amazon just can't handle it. The high def, even after adjusting our settings, we may just not be going live on Amazon right now. I'm gonna have to tweak with that later. But we get to hang out with everybody on all the other platforms.
What is wrong? What is wrong? You know what? It's Amazon's got it out for me. Even though I'm like they're you know,
you're too dangerous. I think that's what's going on.
Well, it's like I'm pretty good friends with a guy over there named Jeff. I don't know if you've heard of him. He kind of runs the place. We know each other. I've done some work for him. And I've done some work for him. He's all right. All right, he's a good dude, but him and we have a little bit of beef. Not going to say anything about his wife or his ex-wife, but you know. So anyway, yeah. So whatever, Amazon. But anyone else is out there watching, thanks for checking us out. You're about to be entertained.
All the entertainment. I have a bunch of questions. I actually had like 3 different types of questions lined up for you. Yeah, I had questions based on Amazon, which it still looks like, again, they're just being like, error, we can't handle it. Or
so weird.
Going over some of the thoughts you had on UFC, was it 274? And then what we got kind of like looking ahead.
So I'd love to talk about UFC 274 because I personally, I was there. I was in the front row. You can't ever see me though, because I am a master of disguise, but I was there. So I got a pretty good idea what was going on. Said, what's up to Rogan? But anyway, so I was front rowing it, and let's talk about which fights do you want to talk about? I just want to go over the main card because a lot of the fights were really good. They were exciting. The main card though, coming up to that day, it started to me to lose a lot of its luster personally with they canceled the Cerrone fight, which may have been an addition by subtraction.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Because I saw the headline, but I didn't dig into that too much. Have you dug into that and be like, yo, was it, I heard food poisoning maybe?
He had COVID-like symptoms about something. So he got sick. They wouldn't let him fight. He was ready to fight. So he's like that. But apparently the Nevada State Athletic Commission would not let him participate. And so he's out, but one thing we had discussed, and he said that he's going to try and do 2 more fights and make it 50 and call it a day. I mean, so they rebooked this Joe Lozon fight. It's going to happen again.
Yeah, what, July or June?
In the middle of the summer sometime at a fight night, as opposed to, I think it's going to headline a fight night, but we'll see how that goes. I would say it's a fight that would have been good 10 years ago.
For sure, yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a banger 10 years ago of 2 guys that are probably in the best part of their career. And now you're like, why are we doing this again? You know, it's these, and I had spoke.
That's the question. I want to know, is it about the money?
No, it's not, dude. It's not at all, because being a warrior like myself, and, you know, I've never lost, and being undefeated, I've never tasted the bitterness of defeat. My only defeat is not being defeated. I mean, that's really it. But, you know, with these guys, as you get older and you want to retire, and the only reason I retired was because there's just nobody left. I mean, I come out of maybe for Jake Paul, but anyway, he's got to stay undefeated. But it's hard as an athlete, it's hard to walk away at some point. And when you're a fighter and you're one of the fighters that are in the top of the UFC or the top of any kind of fighting organization, there's a certain amount of ego stroking that goes into that for that human being. And to be considered an elite fighter, you know, on the world stage, something like Cerrone is an elite fighter. He was an elite fighter for a long time. It still is, though. That's the whole thing. If he retires from the UFC tomorrow, that dude is, for the rest of his life, he's not going to get he's not going to turn into a pussy. Do you know what I mean? He's legitimately a badass, but I think a lot of these guys have a hard time accepting that. You know, could you imagine what it's like to be, let's say, imagine what it feels like to be Francis Ngannou right now. He can go into any bar in any place in the world that I'm not at, and he's the baddest dude in the fucking place. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's a psychologically, I know how that feels, and I can tell you it's very intoxicating. But for him, like, that's how he feels everywhere he goes. He knows, unless he runs into that Mace Hammertime, his life is awesome. So this is what I'm saying. Like, but any guy that's on the UFC roster and a fighter, and even low level fighters, I mean, you have guys that can't give it up at the regional level because they still think they're going to get a crack at it, and they're 36 years old and they've had an ACL already, and they've got, you know, they're just waiting for that one win streak just to get in the UFC to get the $12,000 contract. It's hard. It's a hard. I think it's one of the hardest sports to walk away from, because you literally walk away from it because you have been fucked up.
Yeah,
you've been fucked
physically
up.
and mentally.
Yeah, because, you know, guys that are mediocre, they can walk away pretty easily. If you got like there's guys that are, they'll have a career and they'll just, you know, they'll quit at 32. They're never going to be the champion. But you have these guys that like Cowboy, that are, first off, fan favorites. People love their personality, they love who they are. And then second off, with him, it's like he's pretty good, and he's had a few runs. And if you go on those runs in the UFC, get 4 wins in a row, you knock out, you beat some really good dudes, and you're like, holy shit, okay, I might be a champion. Then you lose a title eliminator, right? Then you're back in the picture. You win 2 more again. You're like, oh, I might do it again. This is over the course of like 6 years now. And so it's just, you always are allured by the idea that you might make another run. And then unfortunately that never happens. And then you turn into somebody like, you know, Chuck Liddell got rocked a lot towards the end. He got put into like 5 straight horrible knockouts.
Yeah, like, not good for you.
Terrible.
That's so knockouts good for you, but like, especially in that period, in that streak, no bueno.
Could you imagine, like listen, like Chuck Liddell like knocks out, shuts down Randy Couture for the light heavyweight championship, electricity through his fucking body. He's like, I am fucking the man right now. And I mean, at that point, he's like, I'll fucking fight a heavyweight right now. He don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? He probably would have knocked out a heavyweight at that point when he was really in his best. And then you see him, you know, down in Mexico, fucking strapping it up against fucking Tito Ortiz and Tijuana. You're like, what the fuck is happening? So it's a hard thing to give up. The fact that you are not the baddest dog on the block. That's a really difficult thing to do. You know, because
that's a good point.
Yeah, and you go and you hit pads and you're feeling good, you know, you feel good. And
sounds good, right? It's like,
it seems like a good idea. Then you got people around you that want to make money too. Like, why don't you go fight in fucking Tijuana? Because they're going to get 15 grand off it because you're getting $1 million. So like, cool. I need
at
money.
This point, they all have teams, right? They have, whether it's like their coaching and their staff that's supporting them on the physical sense, or the marketing team, or their branding, or if they have a future, if they're trying to create a future on the business side of it. Yes. You know about this, right? Your big press team and everything. Like
of course,
they have to, you know, consistently put something out there that's attractive, and like that's how they make their living. So there's a weird dynamic there. But if you have the right kind of people,
it's tough. I mean, it's so, people don't understand the relationships that people build with their coaches and their teammates, and how intimate it is as far as like coach. And so let's say, okay, you're Chuck Liddell, and then your coach, let's say, I'm not saying Chuck Liddell's coach or anybody in particular. Let's say fighter's coach, he loves him, but his fighter's coach needs a fucking surgery. Right. And he's like, dude, if I fight right now, I could, you know, I don't know if these stories are true, what this happens, but there's more complex things than people just taking fights too, especially when they know they can get money. If you're guaranteed 50 grand to show, 50 grand to win, and you'll come and fight on the mid card of a UFC, and you're just going to get in there, do your 15 minutes, baby. What's the worst that could happen? You're going to lose. Okay. I'm 23 and I'm 12 right now, so it doesn't fucking matter, but I just got 100 grand.
Hey.
I got 100 grand. I can actually get, I know how to take a TKO at this point. Like if I get rocked, I'll just shell up, curl up, and they'll stop it. I mean, it has to happen for people. They have to get to a point where they're just like, dude, this one's for money.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with what you're saying and see that. But then I think it's also, again, the opportunity. This was like one of the greatest pieces of insight I ever got, was don't do it for the money. Like, which is like the most backwards way, right? Like, obviously, you have to make a living off of it. But if you start making decisions on what fights to take when, just solely based on money, there's now an objective opportunity becomes a subjective, emotional-based decision that doesn't always work out. But that's also where you have like hopefully a team behind you that supports.
Yeah, I got you on that. But what if there's no championship in sight? Then why would I take fights for money? There's no possible way. You're a 10-year veteran, 12-year veteran in the UFC. You're maybe top 10, 9. You know, like, but you had 2 shots at the title already. You're not getting younger. I'm taking fights for money at that point, or for some kind of crazy thrill.
Can I pose a third option?
Sure.
For an exchange, instead of money, you get clout. You get an investment opportunity into a new business, a new brand, something you're doing. You get to promote that throughout the entire fight camp, throughout the entire fight. Enough eyeballs being in the big spotlight of the UFC, especially when you're a headliner. Yeah. Even if you're at the tail end, you can leverage a business move off of the back end of just a hyped fight.
That's true, but that's getting any kind of like clout on your product through the UFC while you're on UFC time is fucking hard. Like, if you're not, if they'll blot your shit out, beat that shit out. Like, they won't even show like businesses on the fucking embedded, like their signs and shit. Like, they're the most, like, they're like the Apple of sports.
Ooh.
Like, they're so like into their own little thing. Like, it's everything proprietary and fucking, and like,
they know their business, man. They know.
Okay, listen though, they do not know their business right now because they're fucking up hard. And I'll tell you what.
How so?
The streaming was bad this weekend.
Oh, okay. I didn't watch all the streams.
It's so bad. It's terrible.
Like quality cutting in and out. What was your experience, Mace? Break it down for me.
Okay, listen. Hammertime went off on it last night on the podcast. It's unbelievable that I'm paying $80. I mean, it's not about the money for me because obviously, like, I pretty much, I pretty much
unlimited cash.
I basically invented Apple computers. No people know that, but I pretty much have, like, it's a long story. Let's not get into that. But I don't know what does matter?
The fact that your bank account knows.
It's the principle. It's the principle. I'm trying to watch these fights and like it just keeps on restarting and freezing. And Dana White got really upset with all the pirators, but maybe people are not pirating right now. So now I don't know. I learned about the internet like 2 weeks ago. But if everybody's like, their streaming is bad, if everybody's like watching the fights, I'm not sure if their servers can handle it all. But it was unwatchable, and I'm actually really upset about it because, and you don't want to get me upset. I mean, I'll call corporate. I
was gonna say, I don't want you calling up Dana and making it a whole.
I mean, I got his number, but once you call Dana, he won't leave you alone. He's always bothering me. That's like, come on, dude. Come on, dude, just fix it. I'm just like, dude, I don't want to talk about all the excuses. I'm just Dana, just fix it. That's what I would tell him. But I think that I don't know how. I like the fact that the UFC has turned into legitimate sport. They're on ESPN, but you're also one of the stranglehold of ESPN right now. Now they have seemed to have worked out the whole ESPN Plus, ESPN shifting from Fight Pass, all that shit. That basically everything now is on ESPN Plus, and I'm all about that. But they have got to work. I mean, dude, what the fuck? We're not on Amazon, are we?
We're not on Amazon.
Okay, cool. Well, I almost slipped up there. Sorry there, coach. No, but listen, when Hammertime gets furious, I can't help it.
Listen, sometimes you gotta unleash the beast and then contain it back.
It's true, but that sometimes a good F-bomb is how you get somebody's attention. So, anyway, the company's owned by Disney. I mean, figure it out. They almost have as much money as Mace does, but. So I don't know. I mean, maybe I can go in there. I know all about computers, and I could probably go in there and fix it for them. But whatever, they got to fix it up. But that Cowboy fight was trash. It never happened, but I was not really super interested in it. Then they had the Chaos Williams against the Brown fella, and Chaos is not an elite fighter in the sense of a UFC fighter. I hope people understand what I'm saying. Okay,
right, when I there's elite in the world.
This is based on guys in the UFC. This isn't like there's guys like me, Master Seagal, Coach Kahlo, a couple other guys that are elite, like that level, and then there's like these guys in the UFC, and then within those guys in the UFC, I've got to be able to judge them. Do you know what I mean? They're there, and it's a fair thing to do. It's like judging horses in a horse race. You got to pick one.
Right.
And some guys are just better than others. And so that fight, Chaos is the kind of guy. Chaos is the kind of guy who could win 2, lose 1, win 3, lose 2, and just kind of make his way for the next 10, 12 years in fighting, and probably make, in the end of it, $500,000 bucks, maybe get some sponsorships. But the thing, and this is not so easy anymore, though, is like, you used to be able to, I guess, maybe retire from fighting and then opening up a school is a kind of a thing. But I think there's a lot of competition now.
Yeah, now it's more and more saturated. I think the biggest thing is leveraging, again, going back to like your clout and a business that you have a passion for. And
do you think they're ever going to have MMA in high school?
So do you want to hear a story about that? I can tell you a story.
I mean, yeah, just hear it.
So there's still to this day like unions and leagues and things that are working on the effort to have it be in high schools, to have a national styled integration and then go year by year, and then eventually do that in college. And then by the college level, you're going from like freshman, or like first starts high school. Like high school would be like high school, you're a freshman, you're wrestling only. Then sophomore year, you're adding in jiu-jitsu. Then, junior year, you start adding in boxing. And then second part of the year, you add in kickboxing. And then fourth year, you kind of mix it all together in an MMA hybrid, almost like pancration or like sambo, sambo
style. Yeah, I like that idea.
And then you graduate them, then going into college, then you start having like even more modified MMA freshman year. Then you have like a tiered system so that like, hey, they're like 1A, you're going like full MMA fights.
I think we'd have a lot more respect in our society if more people were involved in the idea of punching each other. It's surprisingly, it feels like it seems like people who don't understand it, they don't understand the way of the fucking warrior spirit is like, dude, you gotta, like, it's fun. It's fun.
That's for sure.
It's fun, and it's like a necessary thing. You don't know how much you like it till you do it.
So I think this is a good embodiment of that. I brought Lena, my older daughter, to sparring on Wednesday. And that was the first time she's seen that she's been in the gym since before COVID. Because I brought her in there when she was young. Remember, dude, you were there. Remember when I had her on, like strapping her on?
Yeah, she was on there, and like you had her locked in your little kangaroo pouch on her.
Yeah. And
like a wallaby in boxing gloves.
Yeah, exactly. And
you ever I boxed a wallaby, 3 of them, hard. Okay, I remember that. And like, so now she's coming to the gym.
So now I brought her in on Wednesday, and she's just sitting there in the corner. She's like, "You be brave. You're brave." And like, you could just see, like, it's an innate thing. Like, she understands the like, hey, we're not hurting each other kind of a deal. Like, she understands that element because we've watched like fights together and stuff. I'm like, that's the difference where they're like trying to hurt each other. And and she's like, "Oh, it was just like funny to see like her, instead of being scared of it or anything, she was like wanting to." Like, hey, you be brave and like continue to go, and like cheering everyone on, like, you guys are brave. That's awesome. Like, and it was cool to watch that, like just that natural.
I mean, you get 2 little boys together and throw a cupcake in between and watch what happens.
Ooh,
do you know what I mean? Like, do it in front of 2 little girls. They'll go after it too. They don't care. Like,
I was gonna say, Lena and Tessa will jack stuff up.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, inside of us, there's this part of us that some people are, I guess, not comfortable with, and which leads us to I wanted to talk about the Namajunas fight. I know we're skipping ahead a little bit, but I think because it wasn't a fight, obviously, I think you heard probably or saw what happened. It was pretty. I get the strategy. I get what they were trying to do. Poor execution with it. Bad corner advice. Strange corner advice.
I didn't hear the corner talk or anything. I just saw highlights.
Okay, so
what were they saying? Like, I wanted to know, what was the plan?
Well, first and foremost, you heard it here first. Tony Ferguson actually broke the scale that Charles Oliveira went on right before. So he was mad about the armbar thing, but we'll get to that later. So anyway, the advice was basically Pat Barry was telling her she's doing a good job. She's doing great. She's doing excellent. Trevor Whitman was kind of, I don't think you need one clear voice in the corner.
Sure.
Especially not always. Okay. You're putting it on somebody and you're beating the shit out of them. Everybody can be like chiming like, yeah. And it's, you could feel that momentum, right? And it's going well. In that fight though, she needed a clear director because something was not, she was disconnected from the reality of what was happening, in my opinion. She wasn't mentally there. This is what people don't realize, in my expert opinion, is that Rose Namajunas is she has a real dark side to her. Very dark.
Okay.
If you don't believe me, watch when she was on The Ultimate Fighter. She's nasty on there. She's like talking about hurting people, a completely different person as opposed to the person. This is when she was hungry, when she was trying to come up. Do you know what I mean? Like she's hungry. Like she's from this, comes from a tough background. So when you're fighting out of that, you'll do anything, you'll say anything, and anybody standing your way is going to be fucked up. Sure. So she had that mindset, got pretty far on the show. And then as her career's gone on, she cut the hair. But then you started to see that she's a very mentally streaky fighter. And so when she's dialed in and she's fighting really well, you can see it. But if she's not 100% invested in that moment, she's not going to get there. And she has, in a couple of her fights, especially the Zhang Weili fight she just had, the second Joanna fight where she was kind of plodding around, and even her fight against Jessica Andrade, she was really kind of like almost to the point where she just did enough to win those fights. The first Zhang Weili. Why do you think that?
Like she got used to like, hey, I can do just enough and win and do it intelligently and come out with the W. Versus, because like here's the other side. Whether it's like she dominates the other person, but also takes some serious shots doing it and wins a decision, or she just like picks and patters them and like wins the decision. On paper, it's the same, and she doesn't get paid any differently.
I think that's a rational point. I think it's a rational thought process you're having there. I think for her, it's more like I don't think she really enjoys doing it. And she can she's so good that she can just do enough. And it's not even about her taking damage. I don't think she just wants to engage in the whole thing. I don't think she likes being there. Sometimes I don't feel like that's her favorite place. And like, there have been times where it is her favorite place. When she has adversity, like when Joanna was fucking with her the first time, these fighters react psychologically to different stimuli. So, for instance, when Conor McGregor tricked Cowboy Cerrone into thinking they were buddies, all right, then Cowboy's like totally disarmed. He's like, I kind of like this guy, right? But then Alex Hernandez fucking pisses off Cowboy, and Cowboy kills him, right? So with Rose, if you make her angry and you put her in a place of like defense, I think like you're a bully, she reacts in a very like do that to her and you're fucked. But if you try to buddy up with her, very sportsmanlike and just very she doesn't really get up for those fights. Remember when she kicked Zhang Weili in the fucking face back to China? She fucking, I'm not even joking, dude. That fight before that, she had talked shit about her and she made Rose angry. And then Rose had said something about whatever the fuck it was. And she was angry for that one. Then they fought again and they're buddy, no hard feelings. And it's kind of just like this, like, it was just a lackluster fight and more just like that, not really wanted to be there. So I think Trevor Whitman's a really good coach, and I would suggest that Pat Barry just step aside. I think Pat Barry just needs to marry that chick and step aside.
Yeah. Do you think so? That's an interesting dynamic too, is the idea of like when you have family or loved ones in your corner, dude,
it works to a point. It works.
I think it gets you to a place, but not past.
Not her 2 world championships, but she needs to try something different now.
And then I think it's also like, I always think, is it because of or in spite of? Like, would she have won that regardless? I'm not saying yes or no.
Here's my thoughts on this. Here's my thoughts on this exact, like, and it already happened. She won and was successful with this dude.
Right.
But you're seeing now, at some point, she's at a crossroads in her career. I feel 2 championships, lost 1 bad. Like this last one was really bad. Is she gonna make another run at the title? For sure. She should actually have next fight automatically.
Sure, just out of respect.
But she needs. I mean, come on. I mean, otherwise you have to give it to Joanna, and then what's it? They fight again. I would watch Rose and Joanna fight any day. But I just think she would be better advised to listen to Trevor Whitman. Although Trevor Whitman, his fighters, he had 2 fighters lose pretty bad fights that night. He had Gaethje lose also, and so like he's a really. But I just think that it was their number. I mean, the fight with Rose. This is what we're focused on. The fight with Gaethje. Gaethje got beat by a better fighter, plain and simple. The fight with Rose, she just got she was listening to the wrong coach. And because Trevor told her the whole time, like that was their plan. She, because she was supposed to come in, throw combinations, pop, and
move.
But instead of following up with the third and fourth strike or the fourth and fifth strike, she's throwing 1, 2, and then disengaging. And then Carla was like coming back with counters, but she could have beat those counters easily. And she was worried about the wrestling. Well, she got taken down twice, but was able to get up. So I don't understand the difference. Like, why would she? But she wasn't willing to engage in that nasty part. Those 2 extra punches after the first 2, because you could pop, jab, cross, pivot out, and you could do that all fight and pretty much not get hit.
Sure.
Jab, long cross, take side angles, and you can pretty much minimize a lot of damage in fights, especially with somebody like Carla Esparza, who's not known for striking. And Rose is. So she's having a sparring session out there.
If you could pick your shots wisely, and like obviously Rose is an elite at picking shots wisely from past experience, and sometimes your brain, that's what I wonder. I wonder what's personally going on, because my experience of watching this kind of stuff and being at this level is like, what are the things under the table of like how psychologically strong are they? Because there's a transition that happens not only when you're hungry, right, in your earlier stage career. Like I can relate to the idea of being fueled off of almost like hatred and anger, because like especially if you have traumatic things happen in your life, you could fuel off that for a long period of time.
Yeah.
Eventually you're going to start to create it in your life day to day as a byproduct of that, and that becomes very draining when like every interaction's like shitty and nasty. So then I wonder, now if she's creating peace, right, like love and all that fun stuff in her life, does that mean that she maybe is losing her killer instinct, or did something happen that we don't know about behind the scenes, love relationship with her and Barry?
I think that she really trusts that dude a lot. And I think more like, I don't think Trevor Whitman should even be in the ring at that point, because she's not listening to him. She's zeroed in on Pat Barry, and that's fine. And she believed what he was telling her, which he wasn't entirely, that she was doing a great job. And she was doing the plan, which is not necessarily a great job. The great job would have been executing the plan and causing damage.
Right.
There's no damage being caused.
How did it serve her? That's like always the question, right?
Yeah, she needed to like those 1s and 2s needed to be like bam, bam, like the kind of like
gear shift. Throw another 1, 2.
Like you might see her head, but her head wasn't whipping. She wasn't moving her. And Rose was pushing her back the whole fight. Like she had her on the back foot. Esparza's not. She
wanted to be mindful of traps. Did she try and set her up for?
I don't think I saw. I think that she legitimately thought she was going to win in this very like point oriented way. She probably would have if she'd have landed. Listen, she lands 10 more strikes that fight, she wins it. That's how fucking bad it was.
That's tight, man.
They landed at a 20% strike rate. The 20%.
Ooh.
That's like throwing soft jabs out, just like garbage jabs. You can do that for fucking 15, 25 minutes and hit 20% all day. You can probably hit 45% doing that.
Yeah, I was going to say 20% is low. That's
horrible. Yeah. And so, but the thing is with Pat Barry, he should have been, all he had to do is say, you got to turn it up a little. And she would have done it, because I think she was so caught up in the game plan and following the coach's orders. So there needs to be an adjustment.
That's key feedback is like, hey, this is good. And you can highlight all things that are going good, but what's the thing we need to change to get the result that we want? And that's
Pat Barry's entering, like, remember Ronda Rousey's coach, Tarvarian, to that dude, Edmund Tarvadian or whatever, the head movement guy. That's what Pat Barry's moving into, being somebody who's just
don't say that.
No, listen, not that listen, again, that guy had a lot of success with Ronda Rousey to a point, but at some point it's okay to look other places.
And be able to just take a step back and be like, all right, we got you to this place we need to get you, and now you got to take the next step.
Who's that Irish guy? Colin McGregor?
Who?
The Irish guy. What's it? Colin McGregor, right? He's got the Scottish whiskey.
There you go.
Yeah, that guy. His name? I think that guy needs to get some new coaches.
There you go. Well, I think he needs.
What's that guy's name?
Something Colin
or is it? Yeah. So anyway, that guy can get it work too if he wants it. But he's not even undefeated. I can't even talk to that guy. Colin McGregor. Yeah. I don't like people named Colin anyway. So anyway, but like he needs to change it up. Fighters need to change things up. And I know that TJ Dillashaw changed it up, and he's able to get EPO at a better price probably in Colorado. So because he just went there, better prices on that. So, but I think it's important to have loyalty with coaches and with your team, because that's a very hard thing to do, is to be associated with a fighter, befriend a fighter, to love a fighter, to coach a fighter, to be a fighter, to be a part of this the most amazing sport. Not for me, it's not a sport, it's a way of life, but as a sport though, it's hard. You need a lot of support and you need a lot of people around you. And so, it becomes even more difficult when your loved one is your main coach. It's hard. That's why Hammer Time rolls alone. Rolling Stone, baby.
All day, every day.
Army of one. So, but we'll see how that works out. I just think she might retire. I don't know. Maybe she's just done. Like, she's like in her 30s. Maybe. She's been fighting for 10 years. She's 2 champions deep. Probably she's got to be a millionaire. She's probably got other endeavors. Probably never has to work again in her life. So fucking chill.
Dude, you know what's crazy? I don't want to put out names, but I worked with one of the best female heavyweights in the boxing world.
Period. No kidding.
And I'm not gonna say her name because I don't want to like air out her stuff. I've had her on podcasts in the past, so you guys can go back in history and go to that. Sure. But like when I heard about the financial side of things for her, sponsoring her, and then also learning about person stuff, like, and comparing that to a heavyweight, like a male heavyweight in boxing, the numbers, like, I'm trying to just do like a proportionate ratio to just give you an idea. Oh man, I want to say like quick math. What do you think? 100? It's either 100 to 1 or 1,000 to 1.
100 to 1.
So hold on. Let's say, what do you think? Let's say a base pay of a heavyweight. Let's call it like 25 mil, right? Like
yeah.
Somewhere around that time frame. So let's do.
That's for that's like the best guys though, the absolute cream of the crop.
Dude, the heavyweight champion.
Yeah. So it's like that. They're getting like they're getting like $25 million for a fight.
Yes. That's what I'm talking about. Like, so the elite in your field, in your category, your division, that's what she was to the female heavyweight division. Dang. So that's even like, it's like 1,000 to 1 ratio, like legit 1,000 to 1.
Yeah. The hardest part about that though is it's all financial. It's really all financial. It's like putting butts in seats, period.
Well, that's exactly it.
That's
like
all it's about. Like how many heavyweight boxers can the average person on the street name as far as male boxers right now go?
Right. Yeah. Damn.
I mean, probably one, probably none. I guarantee there's people out there just like Klitschko.
I feel like, oh, he's playing chess right now. So
I'm not even joking though. This is what I mean. Right. So boxing has a huge problem. I get why Tyson Fury got paid a lot recently, because he's good at getting eyes on him.
Seats, homie.
It's good at, and he's also a great boxer.
Yeah. Where do you think he lies in like the analogs of time?
He is the best heavyweight boxer of all time. I'm not talking not that he's the best boxer. Yes, like he's so good at boxing.
Yeah, the technical proficiency.
Awesome to watch.
It's crazy.
And that's why so he's the person who makes up with his lack of athletic ability. He's the size and his technique, and he wins. He's got athletic ability. Don't kid yourself.
Sure.
But he is not tremendously gifted as an athlete. Like, he does not, if you saw him walking down the street, although he's massive, you wouldn't suspect him to be an athletic dude.
Do you know what he was gifted with? A frame and an environment. Like, meaning he had a certain frame that you can't buy, you can't change.
No,
and the environment growing up from like the like, even say I look at my daughters, Lena and Tessa, right? Like, they grow up in the gym. They grow up with like that environment. So imagine if they wanted to fight, which they like, I don't know. That's a whole nother. I'm curious.
And listen, when you fight a guy like that, which I've done, giant Croatian back in '96. Won't get too much into it, but it was involved. It was like at a missile factory, completely just like.
I heard they called in Krokop for security because he was working for the.
Oh, you know that kick he does. That kick he does. I showed him how to do that.
Yeah,
and you know that he says, left leg, ambulance, right leg, that whole thing.
Yeah.
He stole that from me.
Boom. That's what I heard.
One time we were at a strip club and we were drinking, and I said that. He's like, "Can I use it?" I was like, "Fine, dude, go for it. It's cool." And he's like, "You're the best." He's like, "Dude," he's literally like, "You're the best, Mace." And I wouldn't be where I am without you. So, Krokop, if you're out there, still think about you, pal. So, but what were we talking about before that?
So we're talking about
Tyson Fury in boxing. That's right. Yeah,
bro.
Tyson Fury but he's a huge dude. But you're right. He grew up around boxing, which is very, very helpful. But the fact is, he's almost
how many hours he put in by the time he was 15.
Have you ever seen a guy that's 7 feet tall though can be able to like box like that? I've never seen any of the guys in heavyweight. Like, heavyweights are good boxers, but they do it it's not like watching cruiserweights or even like the lighter guys who are really just like, it's all super technical with power.
Right.
But the big guys, they're trying to end that fight. They don't want to go more than 3 rounds.
Yeah, but you'll always see technique at every weight class, right?
You will, but it's not as fun it's not as beautiful to watch as it is with some of the smaller guys, I feel, because with the heavyweights, they always have that extra oomph. But with Tyson Fury, watching him box, because I'm not sorry to say this, Deontay Wilder is not a boxer.
Well, who said he was?
He does, and in like the 30 guys he knocked out prior to were boxers, but he's not.
Dude, he's an athlete and a powerhouse.
Oh my god, he's fun to watch though. But gosh,
when you could go to the Olympics in like your first year or 2 years or something like that.
Yeah, I would have done that, but I
heard you were busy working for some other agencies.
It has to do with the Soviets, but so he is a tremendously gifted individual. He's really fun to watch fight, but he's not fun to watch box. It's awful. Like, I don't like his. Sure. It's awful to watch
until he knocks you out. Until he knocks you out.
He's got a pretty good straight cross. Doesn't work his jab ever, in my opinion, effectively. And he kind of holds it close, and he kind of just and he's waiting for that one home run hit every time, and it loops over. Like, it loops.
Right. Sometimes, yeah.
It's not. So I don't know if you saw. I unveiled the move that basically gets me banned everywhere. But the hammer time hook, it's the 12-6 hook that I perfected it.
I heard it's the most deadly strike in the world.
Well, that's why I talked to Dana about this, and I was supposed to be in the WWE, but they were worried about that. So the hammer time hook is I could probably use it on Tyson Fury, but I'd have to use a hammer time hook, but people don't understand this. I can dunk like on a 15-foot hoop. So like I could just jump up there and like fucking hammer time him in the head. But that's kind of what Wilder's got. That he's got these really looping, big, long. I mean, his arms are probably as long as my whole body. Sure. So
winging you around.
Unbelievable story. I mean, that guy's made a fortune. Dude. And I think he's retired.
I hope every single person that uses their body to make a career is good for the rest of their life.
Yeah, especially prostitutes
getting brain trauma.
Especially prostitutes. So anyway,
seriously, especially prostitutes.
They long-term health. They got a long-term retirement plan for those ladies.
That's going to be an area of expertise I go into in my future. Is just like retirement plans for adult workers.
I mean, that's how they do in Amsterdam. But anyway, so but boxing, it's hard. It's hard to make money in fighting unless you're at the very, very top.
Very top. And even then, you always gotta leverage it, in my humble opinion. And when I say my humble opinion, just from even when you listen to like really high level professionals in the sport, like even the Randy Couture's of the world, those are the obviously the sources I think are the most insightful, educated, and things that you should listen. When there's a common theme there, like, hey, like prep yourself, have another business, have other things, have other ventures, like that's important to have.
It's easy to be like, oh yeah, just some people aren't equipped for it. They need the money now. They're going to spend it now. I think so much though of being in the UFC in particular and being successful in the UFC is, you have to have a character, and you can't. Not everybody can be born like Mace Hammertime. I mean, I came out. There's a lot of legendary stories about where I'm from, what I've been through. Nobody really knows. I was raised by wolves, but that's a completely different story too.
Right.
Well, I don't want to get too far into it, but well, I don't know.
No one's watching you.
You have to have some kind of. You have to be so good at fighting and putting up highlight reels that people watch you, kind of like with the guy that looked like Abraham Lincoln from Dagestan. What's his name? He just retired. Zabit.
The hormone monster.
He was like angry Abraham Lincoln. Zabit. He retired. You know that? He's gonna be a doctor.
What?
Zabit Shamar is gonna be a doctor.
No, you're really.
Yeah, he's done fighting.
Is Khabib coming back?
Who?
Is Khabib coming back?
Well, I mean, the only logical fight to me that would make sense would be with me, but I don't think he's going to come back.
Yeah,
and we're both kind of doing our own thing. I think we've kind of let bygones be bygones, to be honest with you.
You know, that's big of you.
Well, I showed him all my moves, and then he's like uses them, and he doesn't even thank me.
Doesn't even give you credit.
Yeah, I mean, look at the hair. Even the hair, he tried copying the haircut.
That's messed up.
He puts that hat on. It's like, oh, he just wants to look like Mace deep down inside.
But maybe that was his way of giving you props. Maybe you missed it.
After all we've been through, Eagle, he's gonna do me like that. But it's okay. He used some of my moves like that. With the way when he choked out Justin Gaethje at the end there, that was all my sequence he used. So no big deal.
That's how I heard you stay undefeated in the cage.
Well, you never. I can't even count how many wins I've had. So, but anyway, so I think you definitely have to work hard in the UFC, win fights, and have some kind of ability to do camera time. Which leads me to the main event. All right. And I spoke about this recently as well, about how
I want to talk about the weight.
Well, Tony Ferguson messed up the scale. Everybody knows that, but
right
before, because he made it right before I saw it, he like totally messed with it. But you heard it here first. But anyway, like the weight, everyone knows who the champion is right now. It's Charles Oliveira.
Sure.
Without a doubt. So
yeah, but how do you think that impacts his contract, like for the numbers in the negotiation?
I don't. At this point, listen, I think they've really pissed him off, and I don't think he gives a shit about the numbers at this point. I think he's going full on like I'm scorched earth. I will fight anybody and kill them because they did him so dirty. Because check this out. Listen to this. Let's say Charles Oliveira wins his next fight, becomes a champion, and then wins his next one. He's defended the lightweight title like 5 times then, technically, but he's not going to get credit for it because they took one away.
Right.
So his next 2 fights, because he missed by half a pound, which, he cut weight, which I never do. I always fight up weight because I like bigger guys. Yeah. I mean, I'll fight 2 little guys, but.
So I'm curious. Like, I want to know what was the mistakes made on whoever's party for them. Like, not like obviously we're not going to know.
He had a scale. He had a scale. It was showing 155. He kept on showing 155, and then
was it showing 155 or was it showing him in kilos? And like when they tried to switch it, he messed it up.
No, I think I don't. Here's the thing. That last half pound might as well have been 100 at that point.
For sure.
He was looking. I mean, he was just like his sweat was gone. Because he had to work up another sweat at that point, and he's just exhausted. And no, I don't feel sorry for him because that's part of the job. But there's nothing left. Shave your head.
Yeah, but even that, come on, man. Have you ever seen when you've gone to your infinite tournaments? Yeah. Have you ever seen someone shave their entire body and lose anything more than 1/10 of a pound?
You know what? When it comes to that championship thing, what do you got to lose? You know what I mean? Just take anything you can, fingernails, whatever the fuck it takes, because I mean, everything would have helped. He couldn't get and I don't even personally, I mean, if you've noticed over here, there is a belt over here, and I don't want to make too big of a deal about it, but I have this guy I know, his name's Vince. You may have heard of him. He runs this company called the WWE. We're friends. I never got a chance to be a WWE fighter, because he thought I was going to put the hammer time hook down on him. So anyway, he's like, you want a championship heavyweight belt? Because we all know you would be the champion and probably the biggest star in the world if you did this. I'm like, sure, I'll take the belt. And he's like, do I have to show it on TV? He's like, please show it, because we're not doing so well. WWE needs a lot of – they need me to help promote them. So as far as the belt goes, like, I'm not super concerned. And the only thing I'm concerned about for Charles Oliveira with that is he loses money.
Right. That's I mean –
his next fight, he's probably talking about like maybe $250,000 he loses.
Yeah, because then think about it, he doesn't get points as the champion. I assume in his contract. I don't know what his contract is, but I imagine it's a stipulation. Once he's champ, cool, you get points, or maybe just by being the main event.
Totally. So check it out. So he probably got performance of the night for this last fight with Gaethje, because he fucking did it. He's
crazy.
Really, dude.
Maybe he got something behind the scenes though.
It's just he couldn't lose that half pound. And also, here's the thing. Also, The UFC, I do not think, like they don't like having champions that do not speak English.
Sure. Okay.
Unless they're Chinese.
Less marketable.
Unless they're Chinese, because they're trying to expand through China, right? They like so Zhang Weili, they were super stoked because Zhang Weili was a champion. That's eyes on from a completely different nation, and they need a Chinese star. They really could. That's great for them. But we've had enough Brazilian stars, and we've had Brazilian stars that can speak English pretty well. Not all of them, but some of them. And now Anderson Silva pretended not to speak English, which is awesome.
Just like, nah, I don't have anything.
That was awesome. That was one of the funniest things ever. He's like, I don't feel like speaking right now, even though he speaks really good English. But
no thanks.
Yeah, he's like, nah, I'm not gonna answer questions. But so Charles Oliveira, I don't even know what his personality is like because I don't know him. I was getting him through a translator, which is not always the same as when somebody's on the mic and they're being themselves and they're able to express themselves in their native tongue. Unfortunately, he's not able to do that. And so, but 155 is wide open. Who's next? Conor McGregor. Was that his name? Conor or Colin?
Colin Jones. What?
Colin Jones. Yeah. The McGregor guy, if he might get the next shot. I'm not even joking.
Colin Quinn.
Yeah. He's funny. He was on a show called Remote Control. Back with Ken Ober back on MTV. I don't know if you remember that.
No.
Remote Control. TV mattered. Nothing else did. Girl said yes. He said no. Now he's got his own game show. Remote Control. Look it up. It's great.
Get it, Mace.
Yeah. So anyway, so I could see the UFC booking a fight with McGregor versus Oliveira.
What do you think happens with Conor McGregor now? How many losses back to back?
Listen, dude, he basically does whatever he wants. So here's what I'm saying. If the UFC wants to make money with that dude, they would let him fight. They would let him fight Charles Oliveira next for the belt.
Ooh.
Because if Conor wins that, he's back, baby. The cash cow's back.
Yeah.
Then you know what he does then? Then he vacates 155, gets a shot at Kamaru Usman. Ooh. The UFC would be so happy about that. Those are some of the biggest pay-per-views of all time.
Yeah, especially against Usman too.
If Conor McGregor comes back and he becomes a 155-pound championship, which he very well could, he could knock out Charles Oliveira.
Sure.
Right? If they get to the ground, he's fucked. But if he because he's like me, he wants to be like me, but like when you got this, when you're born with this, you always got a shot. And so,
right.
But can you imagine he starches Oliveira and he becomes the lightweight champion for the second time in the UFC, automatic call out of whoever the welterweight champion is right at that moment. Boom. He gets them both. He would go down as the greatest combat sports fighter of all time.
Now does he? But just from that one win, you think?
If he beats Oliveira and then he goes up and somehow beats the 170 pound.
Oh, if he also beats Usman too. For sure.
Listen, if he beats Oliveira, hats off to him. He's still a legend no matter what.
Sure.
But if he goes up then and like wins at 170 somehow, that cements him as there's nobody.
Definitely
nobody. Yeah. Even though he got his ass kicked by like Poirier, he knocked out. That's all forgotten if he becomes a double champ again.
Yeah, dude, then imagine he comes back with Poirier and they have like another like super fight and he takes the title at like 70 or some crazy.
I don't think Poirier's I don't think him and Poirier is an interesting fight in my opinion again.
I mean, I want to see
it. I would watch it. I just don't think that one is on. I don't think that one's ever going to happen again. I would see. I think McGregor
marketability. Yeah, but don't you think they can push the whole wife story and like DMs and whatever?
So these are what I call UFC love stories. So the Poirier McGregor love story is over. All right. Now we're moving on. Like they all broke up. It's over now, and they might get back together and rekindle that one when they're drunk one time. But I think that one's lost some of the passion. That love story's over. So we got to look at other love stories moving into the future here. I could see Conor though really, really making a run at the idea of him getting a shot at this 155-pound belt. 100% could see it. I could see them giving it to him. I don't think Gaethje gets another shot at a title ever again. I think Gaethje becomes like a Chandler guy. I'm sorry?
He can still earn one, but I don't think that
I just don't think he's got it. He's
right.
like, he
said it, dude. He said it on the camp leading up. He's like, this is my last run. Like, you know, when you have that already in your mind,
he might retire too. Like Gaethje might be like, I'm good too.
Yeah, hopefully he stashed away some cash, built a brand. Like,
yeah, he's rich. I mean, I seen his truck on Embedded. He drives a truck that like you carry other trucks in.
That you live in. You just
he's fine. That guy's doing. I think he seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. The thing about Gaethje too is he doesn't really cut weight, not a lot. He's a really smart fighter because I was watching what he does and he walks around between 170, I think 75.
Okay, that's not bad.
He's not big. He's basically about the exact same time as same size as Hammertime. So
Hammertime.
And you know, you see that he's not.
What's your heaviest weight? Like, so would you BJ Penn it? Like, would you like get up to like 200 pounds and then go up to those big
my weight's irrelevant. The opponent's weight is irrelevant. I'll fight. I'll fight a grizzly.
You even own a scale?
I don't even care. I'll fight a grizzly bear.
I don't need no scale.
I'll fight a grizzly bear, no problem. Which was supposed to be.
What would you wear? That's the question. I want to know. Do you go no shirt?
I had a grizzly bear fight scheduled in the Aleutian Islands back in '86, but.
What was the taxes looking like on that?
Got snowed out. I tried hiking into my snowshoes. Even that stopped me. By the time I got there, the bear chickened out and split. So, but
probably got cold.
Well, I mean, I don't know what's going on next at 55 though. It's going to be interesting to see. It's a whole. You know what it's like? It's like when like a mob Khabib. You know what Khabib was like? Khabib was like a mob boss. He was like a mob boss that got a hit on him. He's gone. So Oliveira kind of slides in there as like the temporary boss. But who's going to take over as the boss of 55? That's what I want to know. Right now it is Oliveira. He's the godfather of at 55. Who's going to challenge him?
He's earned that though.
I mean, I think right now they're like I would watch him fight Islam any day, but I think Islam gets beat by him.
Oh, you think so?
This is a little a secret that the UFC does not want to get out because everybody thinks that Islam is the next. Everyone thinks that Islam is the next Khabib. Islam has been knocked the fuck out in the UFC. Knocked out cold. In the UFC, knocked out cold.
When did this happen? I missed
his second fight. Knocked out cold in round 1 by a guy who's like not even the top 10.
Did he lose? Wait, I thought he was undefeated in the UFC.
He got knocked out in his second fight in the UFC cold, and nobody ever says anything about that. You never see any highlights of him getting dropped. He got dropped. So after
I'm looking this up right now.
Look it up. You're going to be like, what? I never saw that. The UFC's got that. Like the UFC is good about protecting their assets and making things, hiding things in plain sight.
It's a smart move.
He's a good fighter, no doubt, but he's the Habib. Like, when people say he's the next Habib, like there's no other Habib. There's no other thing like that.
There's no other. There's no other any of them, right?
When you have these really there's no other Kamaru Usman. There never will be. Right. These are the outstanding individuals in this sport that are just there's not another GSP.
Exactly.
There's a bunch of like guys that are kind of these elite fighters, but B level for the UFC that are just unrecognized. Like, cool, you're good, you're a good fighter. But these guys, there's never going to be another Khabib. But Khabib, what does that even mean? Everybody thought that Khamzat was Khabib, and he couldn't even hold down. Gilbert Burns. So, and not that Gilbert
Burns, man, that was a great fight.
No, it's not that holding Gilbert Burns down is easy. I mean, I could probably do it with a couple of my special moves, but with with Habib held everybody down. Everybody. And I think that Habib would probably hold down Gilbert Burns. Especially the techniques I showed Habib, like that, how he wraps up, he wraps up the legs like that.
Who showed him that? Who showed him that, Mace? Come on now. Come on. So, did you watch that knockout? No, I couldn't pull it up. I just actually what?
It's ruthless, man. He gets knocked out. It's not even like a TKO where he shells up. He's done. And not that I know, but once you get touched like that, it starts to really, it can happen again.
Hold on, okay. Pulling it up.
Prepare to be blown away by the fact that they've never seen this. And I guarantee they never have that guy and Islam at a press conference together.
Oh, shit. Yeah. You're right.
I guarantee that Islam and that guy are never on the same card ever again at a press conference. Because Islam would be up there with a belt and he'd be like, I fucked you up, bro, from way in the back.
Dang.
See? He's definitely beatable.
I just can't believe I never even knew that.
That's why I'm here.
Dropping little nuggets.
Listen,
nuggets
I'm telling you, that guy, Ariel Hawani, he calls me all the time. Yeah. He wants to know stuff. I'm just telling you. I'm like, dude, I can't give you all my stuff, dude. He's like, please, dude, come on, I'll be your friend. I'm
just
like,
feed me a little bit.
No, he's like, I'll be your friend. I don't have any. I'm like, dude, come on.
Like, just one time.
Come on, I'll give him some nuggets. I'll throw him a bone here and there. But I got all these guys calling me. I got the schmo calling me. Everybody wants to know what's going on. I'm the insider. I'm the insider of the insiders. I got a key to the Performance Institute. I don't have to tell you.
You're like, I know how this goes.
I know where I'm going, dude. I can go in the back door if I want to. They don't give a fuck. Pretty much built that place. Anyway, so for the main event, though, when you watched it, you saw something glaring. I don't understand why Gaethje. I do understand. I think Gaethje, he dropped him once really good, but Oliveira hit the ground twice and beckoned him down to come down or Gaethje wouldn't engage with him.
Smart move, though.
Well, in hindsight, it's not, because he ended up getting rocked on his feet. Sure. So he rocked Charles a couple times, but Charles is perfectly fine going to his back. And then they got back on their feet, and then Gaethje, his boxing's improved a lot, but with his boxing, his face gets exposed a lot. He gets hit a lot, and Charles caught him. And the thing about Oliveira, which is so unbelievably quick, how fast he took his back. Right. It looked like what you're watching, like a nature program. Like of a hungry animal that this is their chance. There's not a chance this person's going to get away. This is like when you watch a skilled predator see the one opportunity they're going to have to get this individual, and because Gaethje recovers quickly.
Sure. Yeah.
Oliveira hit him, and he was on him like so fast and had him wrapped the fuck up. Yep. And that was really awesome to watch, because that's the kind of technique I use. And so to see it,
I heard that's what you showed him.
It was cool, dude. I mean, I have a lot of respect for that guy. And right now, Charles Oliveira, he's the guy to beat, but he's very beatable. I mean, he's a very beatable fighter. You just got it. You have to capitalize on the opportunities you get when you rock him and finish him.
I feel like that's like,
he wakes up. If you hit him more, he wakes up. He's a wake up guy. Like he doesn't seem like he's in there until he gets rocked, and he goes into a fight or flight, and survival kicks in. And then boom. And there's nothing more dangerous than an injured dog.
Back against the wall. Ready to swing.
I know. I mean, except for maybe an injured lion, that's more worse than an injured dog. But you know what I mean?
I don't know.
I mean, lion. Between a lion and a tiger, I'd probably be able to take a lion faster, just because I could grab the mane. But
use that like for gi grips.
So easy, dude. Yeah, like I'll just do that. I'll just wrap the mane around. That's what people don't understand. When you get attacked by animals, they have throats too. Just choke them. They don't like you ever put a blood choke on a beaver?
Oh, sure.
I was swimming in a lake one time, and they got meningitis, and this beaver coming at me. I'm like, you don't come at me with that meningitis, bitch. And he's like, swim up, and I put him in a rear naked choke. The beaver went to bed. I think he was tapping, but he was slapping. He had the tail.
Right. So he was just trying to
probably. That's not part of the unified rules. So
right. I needed one of your limbs.
Next time you're getting into it with an animal, just try to blood choke. It's great. It's great. So anyway,
so you put the beaver to bed.
Yeah, beaver. Yeah, that's their easy work. That's just a couple.
Now, did you leave it out in the open though, or did you put it away in its little like den in the
lodge? It's called a lodge. I swam in there, checked it out. A lot cooler than people think.
Lots more room.
They don't have electricity though, so it's not that cool. But Anyway, I cleared that up, and no more meningitis. But yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen next at 55. The card to me was okay. It wasn't one of my favorites. The two main fights were good. The Tony Ferguson. Let's finish off talking about that, because that was probably
that.
It was interesting to watch, and I think Tony Ferguson's a great fighter. I just don't know how many more fights he wins.
You want to see him versus Khabib?
Never at this point. No, I don't. The coolest thing about Khabib is that he is just like, I never want to see that guy fight again, because everything I know about him is fucking awesome. And if he came back and like was just tarnished, like let's say fat 185 Khabib, just out there like in 6 years, just trying to do something, and he finds us wanting to try it again, and he just like, I don't want to see it. He's a legend. You know what I mean? Like when you think about him now, like perfect, just perfect. You know? So
sure. Now, so what about Tony though? Then what's his legacy? Where does he go? What does he do?
Boy, oh boy, if he has the right people around him, I'd say they give him one more. I think he deserves one more, because he looked good in the first bit. He got caught, but you know the thing about fighting, and as you get older, this never happened to me, but older fighters I know, that millisecond of time that you used to have, that millisecond that separates you from a B-level fighter is gone. That ability to make those decisions that quickly, that millisecond is gone. And that's all it is. That's all it takes. Because when you're fighting at a high level, like these guys are, conditioning shouldn't be an issue. Strength shouldn't be an issue. Only thing that's really an issue that they might be better than you is some technique wise. They may be a little better at jiu-jitsu, a little bit better wrestling, but a lot of times in fights, when it's mixed martial arts, you can participate and you can hold your own if you're a blue belt against a black belt in a fight, if there's punching involved. If there's punching involved and it's sweaty and there's no gi and it's like a fight, knees, elbows, everything, and you know, John Jones won the heavyweight championship, or the light heavyweight championship with a white belt.
Yep.
Okay, so, but he was also a tremendously gifted wrestler and an amazing athlete in general.
Athlete, hard worker, sure.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
When I say hard worker, I mean when he decided to.
He knows how to get after it. Don't kid yourself. When it's go time, he's an intense personality. So
that's of him to decide. From what
yeah. When he's ready, he's very, very much up to him. But well, where we were
Tony Ferguson, bring it home. Where does he go now?
So he's lost that a little bit. That kick that Chandler hit him with,
that aged his face in like 5 seconds.
That was odd. That was some weird Matrix shit, but
that's how face goes.
Yeah, with Tony Ferguson, he was winning the first round, but that doesn't really mean anything against Michael Chandler. And Michael Chandler is quietly turned into probably one of my favorite fighters in the world.
Dude, he's an exciting dude, man.
He just gets it. He gets what he's doing. And he is.
You're not entertained.
He's very entertaining. He's willing to. This is something that are you literally willing to die in there?
Yeah, right.
That's what and I think Michael Chandler, he has a little bit of that. I think Justin Gaethje has a little bit of that, and like Conor McGregor doesn't have that.
Sure, not anymore.
No, he never had. He never had the willingness to die. He always needs to be the hammer. He's good when he's a hammer, not so good when he's a nail. And he had some adversity
to really get up in his face.
Dude, the only 5-round fights that he had, the Nate Diaz, he ended up running away half the fight, and he's not a dog. He's not a dog. He survived that second Nate Diaz fight. He's not a dog though. And he's tough and he can hang, but he's not like these other guys like Gaethje. He doesn't care. He does not care. And so with Tony Ferguson, he's kind of like that, but he's not durable enough anymore to do that. Chandler can still do that, man. But the thing about Chandler is, like, if he just stays and fights and he fights technically, he's fucking amazing.
Right.
Just stay technical.
It's just that firefight seems to be so exciting.
He likes to brawl, though. He gets caught up in it. Yeah. He's willing to do it, and for him, it's like at this point in his career, I do not think it's about. I think he's a really smart guy who doesn't focus on the idea of winning and losing.
Right.
I think he just takes it. He eats the fight as it's going on. I don't think he has a game plan.
I mean, I'm sure he does.
I mean, I think that game plans are in fighting. I think
game plans, move your head, hit them, and don't get hit. That's,
for sure.
I think that's enough of a base game plan.
I think you come in with a game plan, but that game plan goes out the window real quick. You start to see where these guys know what your game plan is going to be and you do something else. This is what happens with these people. They come with a game plan.
What have you laid down years of foundational like habits of doing? Like whatever you're habitually conditioned for under stress, that's what you default to.
Well, here's the one thing that differentiates fighting from other sports that I think fighting is the easiest sport to make adjustments in. So if you try to make an adjustment in a football game, you're involving 11 people. It's a little more. I think in fighting
live situations, or
you can
like
listen, if you're watching a fight and somebody's leg kicking your leg over and over again, that you can be like, anybody who's in the gym can be like, there's an adjustment to your plan because you want to do. Listen, you wanted to start the fight front foot heavy boxing. You're going to box their face off. This guy's not known for the leg kicks. You're going to come out like front foot heavy boxing. All of a sudden, they're throwing leg kicks. You got to adjust your plan.
Right.
It's when they keep doing the same plan. See Rose Namajunas on last Saturday. Then you're going to get the same result. So, but you can make adjustments on the fly, literally in the fight. You can hear if you have a good coach, you could hear them. But you've been how many times you seconds people and they don't hear you.
I think it's a combination of not only they don't hear, but they also, again, they default under stress to a behavior pattern that they didn't really focus on even throughout camp of like, hey, they weren't forced to check because the plan was fed so much in line with, hey, they're going to box. We're going to come out boxing. They didn't even have to necessarily check. Maybe I'm just making an assumption here, but that's usually what I notice. And it's hard because you're fighting against hours and hours and hours and days and days and days of behavior patterns established to get you to this point. But that's why I think the greatest are able to pivot and move and be able to adapt. So you say Chandler doesn't have a plan. I think he does, but I think he has a lot of plans for situational shit.
He's an adaptable guy.
Right.
Like exactly. He's a really good mixed martial arts fighter. Like he technique wise, he looks good unless he gets, goes in like full brawl mode, starts throwing lobbing potatoes at people, but he looks good. And I like that guy. I hope he sticks around and
forever.
I don't think he's getting another title shot ever. I don't think he cares.
Hey, camera time. You good over there? You got it?
I don't want to burp because it's so loud you'll feel the bass.
You're such a gentleman.
Yeah. So anyway, that was pretty cool. But what about, you said you had some products to check out? What are we talking about here?
Yeah, so here's the downside. All the stuff I had was things for Amazon. So unfortunately, this is what we're gonna have to do, Mace Hammertime.
Yeah.
We're going to I want the people to let us know. We missed a couple comments before in the chat. You were in the zone. I didn't interrupt you.
Oh, sure.
We had some fans dropping by.
Anybody have any questions?
I don't think there was questions. Let's actually pull out what they were saying. They just want to send some love.
Yeah.
Two of my favorite people in the video, legendary Mike and Mace Hammertime.
Nice.
But on StreamYard, we don't see the person's name. It just shows like right here. I don't know if you can see your screen. It just says like Facebook user and then the message.
Sweet. Yeah, no,
No, we had some people just dropping by with some comments. But this is what we're gonna have to do, Mace Hammertime. We're gonna have you come back next week. I'll actually have all of the settings dialed in. So
I can't wait. Let's
do
this next Friday.
What happened?
Let's do it again next Friday.
That's what I'm thinking. Every Friday we're gonna have a party.
I can make this work. Yeah. Listen, Mace Hammertime plays Dungeons and Dragons on Friday night. So yeah, laugh all you want, nerds. I'll come find you. I'm a life cleric dwarf. So anybody want to play Dungeons and Dragons, let me know. Anyway, so we can get another session in next week before we play Dungeons and Dragons, if that's all right.
I love it. I think that people, especially, that's why I was excited for Amazon, for everybody to get to know and be introduced to Mace Hammertime. So we're gonna have to.
Oh, I cannot wait. We listen. This was easy for me. As long as it's easy for you, let's keep doing it. Okay.
This is easy peasy. So with that being said, we're gonna do a little outro video.
Okay.
Mace Hammertime, kick it to you though before we go to that outro video, and me and you will chat after.
Yeah. So anyone wants to come on there's a link I think to my show on YouTube, the Mace Hammertime MMA Power Hour, down below. I work with a couple great guys, the experts we call them, Ronnie J and the Almighty, couple of real smart guys, experts in training. We do that show every Thursday, post on Friday. So Fridays are a big day for the Hammer Time Nation. I'm going to be doing Hammer Time hot takes, a bunch of other stuff coming up. We got our Instagram, Mace Hammertime MMA. So at Mace Hammertime MMA, go ahead and follow us on there, and look forward to talking to you again next week.
Boom. Just doing a little screen share so you guys can see the Mace Hammertime MMA. Boom. This is what you guys will look for. And then on Instagram as well. I got their Instagram.
Thank you.
Guys give them a follow. Check them out. Subscribe on YouTube. And we'll be back, y'all.
Awesome.
Boy.